The envelope showed up on Tuesday, heavy cream paper stamped with the country club's gold insignia. Inside was a single card. The Morrison family cordially invites you to a reception celebrating Catherine Morrison's appointment to the Federal Appeals Court. Black tie attire required. Catherine's big moment. A federal judgeship at 38, the pinnacle of the carefully planned legal path our parents had mapped out for her since middle school. The event was set for the Riverside Country Club. 200 guests. Senators. Renowned legal scholars. Every influential person in Connecticut's legal world. The invitation wasn't addressed to me personally, just the Morrison family. That evening, Mom called. "Sarah, we need to talk about Catherine's reception. I just got the invite. That's why I'm calling. Your father and I have been thinking. This reception is extremely significant for Catherine. The guests are high-profile, major political figures. Presentation matters. I understand. You work at that legal aid center. Your wardrobe is casual. You're not exactly the polished type this crowd expects. Catherine needs impressive, successful people around her. We can't have you talking about public defender cases. It sends the wrong message." I sat in my DC apartment, listening to my mother calmly explain why I wasn't suitable to attend my sister's celebration. "So I'm being uninvited? We're simply saying it might be best if you didn't come. You'd feel out of place amongst such accomplished legal professionals anyway." After she hung up, I stared again at the card. Catherine Morrison, Federal Appeals Court Judge. My sister, the family prodigy who had followed every prescribed step. Yale Law, elite clerkship, partnership at a top firm, and now a federal judgeship. And me, Sarah Morrison, the letdown sister who chose legal aid over corporate prestige, who earned a fraction of her income, who wore off-the-rack suits instead of couture. What they had no idea about, what I couldn't reveal because of strict confidentiality, was that 3 weeks earlier, the White House counsel's office had contacted me. They were vetting me for a Supreme Court seat. At 35, I would be among the youngest nominees in history. My years in legal aid, the cases I'd argued in federal courts, my writing on constitutional law, all of it had caught the attention of the people who mattered. The president himself had read my brief in Morrison versus Massachusetts and told his staff it was the most compelling constitutional argument he'd seen in years. The public announcement was scheduled for 10 days from now, just before Catherine's reception. Over the next week, my mother's social media overflowed with posts about the upcoming event, photos of the club, snippets about the guest list, Catherine's official portrait. Every post highlighted prestige and exclusivity. None mentioned me. Catherine called on Thursday. "Sarah, Mom explained the situation. I'm sorry, but you know how important this night is for me. Everything has to be flawless. If you came and started talking about legal aid, it would be awkward. People here don't understand that kind of work. I help people who can't afford lawyers. I know, and that's admirable, but it's not impressive. Not to this crowd. They're Harvard law professors, appellate judges, Supreme Court clerks. What would you discuss? Eviction cases?" She exhaled sharply. "I'm trying to spare us both from an uncomfortable night." I ended the call without saying a word. The call came from the White House on Friday. "Ms. Morrison, the president would like to publicly announce your nomination this Monday at 2 p.m. We'll have transportation ready in Washington for the press event. I'll be there. This will be a landmark moment. You'll be the youngest Supreme Court nominee in decades." By Monday afternoon, I was standing in the White House briefing room, wearing a sharp navy suit and a fresh professional hairstyle. I looked exactly like what I was about to be introduced as, a future Supreme Court justice. The president stepped up to the podium. "Good afternoon. Today, I am honored to introduce my nominee to the United States Supreme Court. She embodies the highest standards of American jurisprudence, intelligent, principled, unwavering in her pursuit of justice." Reporters instantly leaned forward. For the last 10 years, she has worked tirelessly to provide legal representation to those who otherwise would have none. She has argued and won in federal courts, published influential work in constitutional law, and has proven her judicial temperament time and time again. My phone, muted in my bag, was no doubt lighting up nonstop. It is my great privilege to nominate Judge Sarah Morrison to the Supreme Court of the United States. The room burst into noise, flashes, cheers, a wave of movement. I stepped forward, shook the president's hand, and smiled into the sea of cameras broadcasting the moment across the globe. The press briefing ran for nearly 40 minutes. Questions about my rulings, my philosophy, the confirmation process. The president spoke about my exceptional service, and legal commentators called it a groundbreaking nomination. When it was done, the White House counsel turned to me. "Your family must be overjoyed." "They don't know yet," I said quietly. Her eyebrows rose. "You haven't told them?" "They told me not to come to my sister's reception this weekend. Said I wasn't polished enough." Her expression tightened. "Well, they're going to find out now." My phone showed 247 notifications, all from my family, all frantic, all within the last hour. Mom's messages. "Sarah, the news says you're being nominated to the Supreme Court. This must be wrong. Call me immediately." Catherine's voicemails. "Sarah, what is happening? The Supreme Court? Why didn't you say anything? Every judge at my reception is going to be talking about you. This was supposed to be my night." Dad's texts. "Supreme Court at 35, incredible. Of course you should attend the reception now. Everything is different." My brother James wrote, "Oh my God, Mom and Dad are freaking out and Catherine is melting down. Also, they're apologizing for uninviting you." I turned my phone off and rejoined the White House celebration. Catherine's reception was scheduled for Saturday. I didn't RSVP. I didn't answer a single call. I let them wait. Saturday evening, I slipped into a stunning borrowed gown. My hair was flawless. I looked refined, polished, like someone fully at ease in the most elite spaces in the country. I arrived at 7:30, a perfect half-hour late. The valet froze when he realized who I was. "Judge Morrison, the Supreme Court nominee?" "That's me." Then I walked into the same country club where my family had once declared me too unrefined to attend. The moment I stepped through the doors, conversations fell silent. Dozens of heads turned. Someone actually gasped. Within moments, every eye in the room was fixed on me. Catherine turned ghost white. Mom's champagne glass shook in her hand. Dad looked like he couldn't decide whether to be proud or terrified. A sitting Supreme Court justice approached before my parents could even speak. "Judge Morrison, what a pleasure. Congratulations on your nomination." The call from the White House came on Friday. "Ms. Morrison, the president would like to reveal your nomination on Monday at 2 p.m. We'll meet you in D.C. for the announcement." "I'll be there." This will be a historic moment, the youngest Supreme Court nominee in decades. By Monday afternoon, I was standing in the White House briefing room, dressed in a crisp navy suit, hair styled to perfection. I looked exactly like someone about to step into the national spotlight. The president walked up to the podium. "Good afternoon. Today, I'm honored to announce my nominee to the United States Supreme Court. She embodies the highest standards of American legal scholarship, brilliant, principled, and unwavering in her pursuit of justice." Reporters leaned in. For over 10 years, she has devoted her career to ensuring that every American, regardless of financial status, has access to legal representation. She has argued and won in federal courts, written influential constitutional scholarship, and demonstrated the temperament befitting our highest court. My phone, muted inside my purse, was no doubt blowing up. It is my great privilege to nominate Judge Sarah Morrison to the Supreme Court of the United States. The room erupted. Flashes, shouts, movement everywhere. I stepped forward, shook the president's hand, and smiled into the cameras broadcasting this moment around the world. The press conference ran nearly 40 minutes. Questions flew about my decisions, my philosophy, the confirmation process. The president praised my dedication to justice. Experts immediately labeled the nomination historic. Afterward, the White House counsel approached me. "Your family must be thrilled." "They don't know yet," I said softly. Her brows lifted. "You haven't told them?" "They uninvited me from my sister's reception this weekend. Said I wasn't polished enough." Her expression hardened. "Well, they'll know now." My phone showed 247 notifications, all from my family, all within the last hour. Texts from Mom. "Sarah, the news says you've been nominated to the Supreme Court. That can't be true. Call me immediately." Voicemails from Catherine. "Sarah, what the Supreme Court? Why didn't you tell us? Every single judge at my reception is going to be talking about you. This was supposed to be MY night. Messages from Dad. Supreme Court at 35. Unbelievable. Obviously, you must attend the reception now. Everything is different. And from James. Holy, Mom and Dad are freaking out. Catherine is losing it. Also, they're apologizing for uninviting you. I switched my phone off and returned to the celebration. Catherine's reception was on Saturday. I didn't send an RSVP. I ignored every desperate message. Let them sit with the uncertainty. On Saturday evening, I slipped into a stunning borrowed gown. My hair was flawless. I looked refined, like someone entirely comfortable in the most elite spaces in the country. I arrived at 7:30, fashionably late. The valet nearly choked. Judge Morrison, the Supreme Court nominee? That's right. Then I walked into the very country club where my family had once declared me too unpolished to appear. The instant I stepped in, the room fell silent. Conversations froze. Dozens of faces turned toward me. Someone audibly gasped. Within seconds, every person was staring. Catherine turned ghost white. Mom's champagne glass trembled. Dad looked like he couldn't decide whether to be proud or terrified. A sitting Supreme Court justice reached me before my family could. Judge Morrison, what a wonderful surprise. Congratulations on your nomination.